So, who were part of the team that worked on the photon recoil paper? Who were the lead institutions and the researchers involved?
Okay. I mean, mainly the experiments were done in collaboration with 3 teams. There was one team that was the leading team from the Max Born Institute in Berlin with the principal investigator Uli Eichmann for these experiments. And then there was in collaboration with the team from Sweden. So 2 people coming from the Uppsala University and 2 from the Max Lab in Lund. And then, of course, it's a 3rd team, the SQS people doing the normal work for users here. Yes.
And what is the importance of the SQS instrument for fundamental physics research, such as the one published in Science?
I mean, SQS is mainly dedicated to studying fundamental research. I mean, you're really looking to small systems, so small quantum systems like atoms and molecules, and they are also introduced in the gas phase in the interaction with the photons. That means they are free from any interaction with the environment, so you can really study processes in a pure and, let's say, unperturbed way. And this is mainly, let's say, the main ingredient of fundamental processes. So it's really something which you could mainly do only at SQS.
And what kind of preparations did the team at SQS here do for the study in terms of instrument preparation and sample preparation?
I mean, main difference to other experiment, let's say where we use our full equipment, which we have here at the SQS. For this experiment, we installed the detector, this position-sensitive detector, which was provided by the Max Born Institute. So we had to take out one of our spectrometers and replace it by their detector. And the other preparation was more or less a standard one that we had, the atomic beam, which was commissioned beforehand. We had a vacuum chamber to get good vacuum, and we had the photon beam, which is the main ingredient of this type of experiment, because we had to produce a very tight, tiny focus of the order of some microns, which is the prerequisite for this type of experiment. They really have a high density of photons in the interaction volume.
And your collaborating authors have commented on the potential applications, probably far-reaching, but potential applications such as insights into batteries and solar cells. Can you also comment on something like that?
Well, I mean, as I said before, I mean, SQS is mainly dedicated to fundamental processes. So we are studying fundamental processes on the level of a single atom or single molecule. It also means that direct application, I think, are not coming out from this type of studies. On the other hand, what one can say is that we are studying, in this particular case, let's say we could demonstrate that we change the electronic structure of an atom, of a molecule, and we move charges in a very controlled and defined way by this two-photon process. And this, of course, knowing now that excited states or electronic configuration of a molecule and moving charges is one of the essential parts of chemical processes. It means also that we can somehow learn about these chemical processes. When we learn, understand it better, we can also control it. And if we can control chemical processes, then of course it might also have application, as mentioned there in the comment, on for batteries or for solar cells, just to improve the functionality of these devices.
Okay. And do you have any other comments or information to add, particularly about this paper?
I mean, one is that we are quite happy to have this paper because it's really demonstrating and showing that we can do this type of nonlinear investigation, nonlinear spectroscopy at SQS. This was one of the tasks for SQS. And it also shows in a more general way that we are able to transfer methods which are well adapted and well established in the long wavelength range with optical lasers also to the X-ray regime. And this is something very fundamental because then you have this, can add site selectivity to some experiments. And also, I mean, these results come really at a very good time because we have just now, that means in the summer shutdown, we have installed in the SARS 3 undulator a so-called magnetic chicane, which will allow us to produce photons or photon pulses with two different photon energies at the same time. And this is just because we had this pumping and, let's say, stimulated emission at two different wavelengths. When you can drive this now really with a dedicated two photons, you can really enhance the efficiency. So we can really now study it in a more versatile way, have other samples, have more samples, and also, let's say, really see if this type of method can be really a tool in order to say what we said, really understand better these chemical processes.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael.